It is time.
Shark's in order. Our shark.
There's a Sharknado coming.
Dragon sharks?
Are those sharks with laser beams attached to their heads?
Welcome to the Real Sharks.
Welcome to Real Sharks, episode 47. On this episode, the guys discuss the new Mortal Kombat movie, Outrage on the Mandalorian. The Kurt Russel special continued, and Kyle Klaus joins the crew. Enjoy.
And what's going on? It's your host Rob, rocking through the airwaves on the Real Sharks podcast with his Legion of Doom of movie critics, starting with Steve, Mike,
howdy,
and the Squid.
Hey guys.
Yeah, we all know who he is. Hey guys. I think I do a better impression of him than he does. What do you guys think? Hey guys. I think I could probably do the show without him and just talk to myself, be like, yeah, Rob, that was a good movie. I got some shout-outs for today's show. I got George, aka Spike Green, the man down under. I got Jimmy Evans. I got Damian Adams, Podcast HQ. We got Sherlock Luster, Danny B, On Second Watch Podcast, Hush Hush Society, Mutant Theater, Prime Nostalgia Podcast, of course Vern over at Cinema Recall, Just in Time with the JNT Bangers, Inside Crazy Ant Farm, Geek to Me Radio. Welcome to the international movie podcast known as the Real Sharks podcast, sponsored by Ivory House. And in today's program, we're going to actually be joined by Kyle Klaus. We're going to have him in the second half of the show. He's going to be joining us for a sit-down with the Real Sharks podcast, so stick around for that. But let's go ahead and get started.
Fraud on the American public. This is
Stop
an
it.
embarrassment to
Please
our
stop.
country.
Stop.
We
Stop
were
it.
getting ready to
Stop
win
crying.
this election.
Stop
Frankly,
crying.
We did win this
Stop
election.
crying. Stop.
For the good of this
Stop
nation,
it.
this is a very big
Please
deal.
stop.
This is
Stop.
a major fraud
Stop
in
it.
our nation.
Stop crying.
We want
Stop crying.
the law to be used in
Stop
a
crying.
manner.
Stop.
So what's going on, guys? But first, I know everyone misses it. I miss it too. I'm going to go ahead and hit that movie button for that movie news sound. Alright, what do we got today, guys? What's new in the world of cinema?
Well, the barren wasteland that is the movie cinema genre.
Maybe don't be so harsh.
Out here right now is looking real bleak, as obviously we know that a lot of movies have been pushed to either late 2004, 2022, but we have some kind of good news going on for streaming and just like for movies like
Is it The Mandalorian?
It's not The Mandalorian, but it is a Mortal Kombat reboot.
Yes, I did read about this. Yes.
So
Is it finally happening?
Well, no.
So like yes and no, right?
Yeah.
It's in the works, and I think that they're going through it right now, but they're waiting until theaters reopen.
Yeah.
So that's when Rob comes in with the no.
Yeah. Basically they're like, this movie's gonna be awesome when you can see it.
That's smart of them to not necessarily
is.
commit a bunch. That's got to be like $150 million production to not
Yes.
commit to that with theaters still closed, and you don't know how like the Snyder Cut's getting really.
That's my next story right there, because I'm tired of it already, because it has to involve with that. But okay, so I thought this just came off as so weird. Zack Snyder said he wants to do a Dark Knight Returns movie. And I was like,
wow, shocker.
well, yes and no.
See Batman v Superman?
That's exactly what I meant. I was like, wait a second. You already did that, fucked it up, so why do you...
Yeah.
If you're going to make it like that, then no. Then no, I don't want to see it.
right.
But it was just kind of like, is that how much amnesia he thinks we all have? He's like, man, people are stupid. They just won't even realize I took some of that and put it in Batman vs. Superman, which, by the way, the Snyder Cut is basically another movie. because yes, it does keep getting more and more expensive, but including Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck were on set doing the reshoots. That's just a movie.
Yeah, it's like $70 to $100 million already.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it. Yeah, it's basically a movie.
Yeah, if you get AAA actors to come back to do reshoots, you're just like, that's a movie.
That's a movie. That's a movie.
And it's going to be 4 hours long, so essentially it's going to be 2 movies with its length.
Kind of like a movie miniseries, kind of.
God, I hope not. No. It's 4 1-hour
Why
episodes.
not?
Yeah. Why not, dude?
I'm curious to see how the structure of that goes, because there's a solid chance after the first hour, if it's the first hour of a movie, it's not going to end satisfyingly at all.
Oh my god,
But that doesn't mean the whole thing won't be good, but I would not be surprised if that first episode drops and people are kind of disappointed.
Like,
and then by the end of it, they might like it. Yeah, well, hopefully not.
Speaking of rage, apparently there was some rage, and we're going to get into this too, on the new episode of The Mandalorian. So, episode 2, which, real quick, we'll sum it up. Mando and Baby Yoda come across a frog lady. They go back to Tatooine after, they save that village. Go back to the mechanic girl. She tells them, hey, this frog lady needs some help. She has her last of her brood. She got to basically get to another planet so she can breed. Last of her line, yada yada. Mando, of course, goes through all this, this big, huge caper, which he fights a bunch of spiders. I thought it was a good episode, honestly. Good special effects. I thought the spider was terrifying looking. But that's not the biggest point of this whole episode. Nope. The biggest point... Go ahead, Squid. Tell our audience what the biggest... Okay.
The biggest controversy.
What was the controversy? Play that Twilight Zone music.
I kind of find this to be like the most funniest controversy about season 2 so far. It's because that the little baby Yoda ate some of these frog ladies' eggs.
A baby eating babies.
I mean, he's a baby. He doesn't know any better.
Exactly!
Now, that alone, right? Like you just said a baby eating baby.
Because he doesn't know any better.
So he doesn't know any better.
We have that established.
He's a baby.
Yes.
So, but what kind of baby are we talking about, though? Are we talking about a human baby? Right? No, we're talking about baby Yoda, right? So we're talking about a species that does not exist, eating another species that does not exist.
Fictional characters doing fictional things.
Yeah, doing fictional things, and acting like a baby which doesn't know any better, which is creating the biggest controversy.
How dare you placate on my feelings like that?
And to relate it to real life, how many parents have stories of their 2-year-old, 3-year-old eating a roach or eating a cricket or eating something like that?
Or eating another baby.
Or eating
Get his head out of your mouth!
Oh man, I just totally thought about that YouTube. You guys ever see that YouTube video with the dead squirrel and the little girl? When her mom's like, "What's that?" And she's like, "It's a dead squirrel." And she's just hugging it and everything like it's a toy. But yes, there was some, I guess there were some eggs that were harmed during the making of this. Some fictional eggs that were harmed during the making of that episode.
He was sucking them up like little gummy bears.
It was. I was laughing the whole time. Funny. I thought it was funny.
I mean, it's a show with that's supposed to have morally gray characters. So what's wrong with the show with morally gray characters making morally gray decisions, especially if they're ignorant?
Yeah, it was like I was more disturbed with him eating like the dead spider. Like when he dug his hand in and I was like, oh god, that was when I was like, that's the controversial part right there.
Oh, I see, Steve. So as a black man, you're like, frog people aren't people. That's
frog people aren't people. Okay, frog people's lives do not matter.
Frog lives don't matter.
Okay. Careful now.
Hashtag not my frog.
Once there's going to be at least 2 or 3 frog people with some kind of genetic order marching in the streets now. You're going to upset them. I was just going to say that.
What are you going to come at me? What are you going to come at me with? All right. Listen.
Frog lives matter.
Yeah, I know. Frog lives matter. Okay, you know what I say to that? Make the empire great again. Okay.
Oh.
That is good.
Words now, Steve.
Oh yeah. If you guys were in the part of the Star Wars universe, who would you work for? I won't lie, I'd work for the Empire. The Empire just seems cool. They dress better. They just seem like they have a better health plan.
They probably do.
But you have terrible shooting, though. You have terrible shooting.
They do, but that's because their guns are bad. They established that.
But you also really don't get shot that much either, so like you're kind of not really doing much. You're just chilling on.
It's a big galaxy. Yeah. I mean, you know, you're probably gonna be chilling, watching some, you know, or TV, guarding some archives. You know, Vader comes in every once in a while. You gotta, you know, stand at attention, and then there you go.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's true. I actually would work for the Empire because I'm like, you know what? I don't have to like do too much. I'm gonna be on the Death Star, beep booping around, and then like like you said, if Vader comes around, you just go like, whoa. Let me stand at attention till he's gone, and then like slouch off again. You know what I mean? If you're a rebel, you gotta do stuff.
Yeah, right. You
know what I mean?
It's a constant uphill fight.
Yeah. There's always that corporate speech of "We'll get better, guys.
Right.
Just stick with the train."
There's no union, no nothing, no pay. It's just like there's always the glimmer of hope for a better future.
You're doing it for the good of the cause,
right? Yep.
It's like, but my kids gotta eat.
My kids can't eat the good of the cause, man.
They can't live off destroyed Death Star like rubble, huh?
No, your kids are gonna be eating frog baby eggs. That's what happens when you start on the rebel side.
Mike, what side would you be on?
Oh man, is there a planet where people are just like chilling? Like I would go live with the Wookiees and Kashyyyk. Like as long as they would accept me,
alive.
I feel like they just like hang out in trees and just be people. Like they're just giants. I don't got to do much because I'm a little guy and they're 8 feet tall, so they'd be getting all the food and stuff for me. I'd just be hanging, kind of trying to contribute how I can.
I think you just have to grow up.
I was gonna say you just have to grow everything out. That would have to be the one stipulus of living there. They'd be like naked and you must grow. You can't ever like shave ever again. Like everywhere, you have to assimilate like us if you're gonna live with us. Alright, we're actually going to take our first break, and we'll be right back on our Real Sharks with some of our new games for all of you, and how to win a Real Sharks t-shirt. That's right, so stay tuned. Hey Arizona, if you live in the West Valley and don't want to travel all the way downtown or to Tempe for cool retro clothing and products, then check out our friends over at Ivory House. With online reviews saying affordable prices, quality pieces, and nice owners, how could you beat that? Located at 650 North Estrella Parkway, Suite A4, Goodyear, Arizona, 85338. And welcome back to my Real Sharks. So, do you want to win a free Real Sharks t-shirt? Well, we're going to send one to you. All you got to do is play this new show with us. The name of the show is Guess That Year in Movies. How it works is I'm going to play a 30-second clip of different parts of films from one year in particular. And it's going to be your guys' jobs. First, we're going to do it with the guys, see if they can guess any of it. And then we're going to give it off to you, our audience, and then make sure you guys write your answers in. You guys can send it to us any way you want, via Twitter, via Facebook, and we'll get you that shirt. First person wins. This is a first come, first serve. So here is the clip, gentlemen.
I would say nobody has anything to fear from us. But we are going to control you now.
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
Hello, Hal, do you read me? Hello, Hal, do you read me?
We both know how careers are made. Integrity is something you sell to public.
You sell whatever you want, but don't sell it here tonight.
Damn dirty ape.
That was all from 1 year in films. You think you got it, Mike?
Well, yeah, because there's a 2001 Space Odyssey in
there. So you know a year that's okay. Well, don't give it away for the audience.
Right.
But so Mike has one of the films.
Right. Planet of the Apes is in there.
Well, okay, yeah.
Right.
But don't go on your phones, everybody, and look it up. You gotta guess this year.
Use your minds.
Use your mind.
What is this classic year?
Films. I was just surprised that there were these movies. That all these movies came out in this year.
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes came out in that year.
Yeah, that year. Yeah.
It came out in 19-something.
Yeah. There's your hit, everybody.
Yeah, a little small little hit.
Yeah. But yeah, it did. I was surprised because Night of the Living Dead came out around that same time too.
Right. So that really classic classic year for films right
Yes,
there.
it is.
Full of some classic. And you know what? For bonus points, name the actual movies from those clips. If you can name.
No, that's part. You have to. Yes. You have to tell me the year and name every single movie that was in their order. The first one, I think, is going to be the hardest, and the second to last one about the integrity speech. Those are actually famous films, but you have to actually know them, though.
They're all kind of. I will say this as one last hint. They all are very significant films.
Oh yeah,
of relevancy, and you've seen them or heard about them. So it's not like way out there. You can get them.
No, you can get these. All right, let's move on to our next game because I know Mike's gonna love this one, and all you music lovers out there are gonna love this one. So here we go. It's time to play, and this is backed by popular demand. We're gonna play. How many times has that song been in this movie or been in movies? I need to figure out a better name for that. But anyway, you guys know what I mean.
Is it going to be Fortunate Son? Because that's too many movies to name.
No, but
no, it's not.
I'm looking for basically it has this. Now this song has been in a lot of movies, and it has been in a lot of shows. I'm looking for 4 movies in particular that are going to be the bonuses for you guys. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play this clip now. Alright, so it is, of course, what artist is that?
Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac, yep, classic song, You Can Go Your Own Way. Now, how many movies has that song been in?
It's been in a lot.
You think so? I can give you the official count right now.
I'm going to guess 9.
No, I will tell you, it's in 121 feature shows and films, so you gotta name at least one of them.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
I was thinking 10.
I mean, one of them is like.
You gotta name 4. Let's name 3. Name 3. There's 3 big ones that I can name off the bat.
Yeah.
That I know for sure. When I first hear this song, I think of these 3 movies.
All right.
I mean, you know one, man.
I know one. Do you guys want me to name it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. On my brain right now.
Okay, I'm going to name it. It is Casino.
Yes, it is. It is when they get inside the Cadillac so the CIA cannot hear them because they plug their place. That is the song that is playing on the radio. That's why I knew Steve would know it because
I knew it immediately.
Casino buff.
I was just like, me and him with Casino. That one I knew.
Wouldn't escape.
Yeah.
So come on, what's another one? So come on, 2 more big movies. 2 movies too that helped really define the '90s had this song in there.
Yeah. You might have to give it a little hint.
Honestly, I don't.
Okay, I will drop one of them. I will drop a hint on one of them. One of these movies involved Tom Cruise.
In the '90s, pretty big movie.
I mean, that's a few movies. We got like Days of Thunder. We got some Mission Impossibles. Vanilla Sky's like 2001.
Oh, that's close. That's close.
Yeah.
So it's around that Vanilla Sky era?
No, a little back, a little further. Sorry, my mind got a little sidetracked because I was going to talk about Vanilla Sky in our Kurt Russell special. Sorry.
No, I think.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
All right. I will give you guys the 2. They lost. If you guys, no,
that's in the 80s.
If you guys guessed it at home, I hope you did. But I'm going to go ahead and give the answers here. Yes, one of them is Casino. The other answer, in fact, is Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
The other one is Jerry Maguire.
Yep.
It shows me how long it's been since I've watched that movie.
What? Show me the money!
I mean, it's a great movie, but I kind of forgot.
Yeah.
I love the black man! I love that movie.
That movie's fantastic.
Jerry Maguire is fantastic.
Yeah. All 3 of them are one of the greatest movies of all time. They're on that list.
Yeah.
That movie that was a great song because they are very minuscule in each scene, but they play such a big part of each of those movies too, and in the scene that they are played in. So that's a really good game. Congratulations to the 3
if
people
you guys got it out there at home.
Got it, then congratulations and hats off to you guys.
Yeah, obviously Mike and Squid need some work here.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I really thought. I actually with you being such a music buff, I was like, that should be like boom, 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 boom. But you know what? There's a lot of shows with this song in it too. When I was
something apparently.
Oh yeah, when I looked it up too, there's even an episode of a show called "You Can Go Your Own Way."
You can go your own way.
And it's that song itself, like self-titled. So basically, yeah, that itself, it's named after the song.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, I was looking for those movies, so that was those games for this episode of Real Shark. We hope you guys had fun with us. And stick around. Joining us next is Kyle Klaus.
Hello, potential listeners. My name is The Vern, and I'm the host of the Cinema Recall podcast. On most shows, myself, along with some great guests, we will talk about a movie and then some of the most iconic moments that happened in said movie. On top of that, you'll get bonus shows where I will give you short reviews about new and classic movies, or I'll just rant and rave about something going on in the entertainment industry. So come check us out. We're available on Anchor, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, most other places. Don't forget to follow us on social media. On Twitter, we are at cinema_recall. And then on Facebook, Instagram, we are Cinema Recall Podcast. Don't forget to email us your ad spots to play on future episodes. That email is cinemarecall@gmail.com. Hope to see you around, and thank you very much for listening.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And welcome to a very special guest edition of the Real Sharks podcast. We are joined by actor, entrepreneur, Kyle Klaus. What's going on, Kyle?
What's going on, guys?
So how's New York? How's it going out there?
It's good, man. A little wet right now, a little muggy.
Yeah, I saw you guys were getting like a bunch of rain out there.
Yeah, raining. It was fucking amazing the past couple of weeks, man. It was like mid-November, you know. It's usually like freezing, but it's 72 degrees. It was awesome. But today got rainy, and it's supposed to get rainy and then cold, and you know, normal stuff.
So before we begin, Kyle, tell my listeners a little bit about yourself.
Listeners?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I guess all in all, professional actor, real estate agent, growing up in Pennsylvania, realized I couldn't really hang out there and accomplish my goals. Had to make the move to the New York City area. I live on Hudson River, like right outside of Manhattan. I'm looking at the Empire State Building in Hudson, Manhattan right now, from my apartment, but just needed to be in this area and started getting in acting. Professional actor, got some good. It's a long haul with that stuff, and just to supplement that, got into real estate instead of like the old, bartending, waitering kind of career to supplement your acting. Yeah, cliche actor stuff. So got into real estate, got into investing, got into, all these other businesses, entrepreneurial stuff, and just built a career around the acting stuff while I still kept focusing on that. But that was like what I look at it now is that was my why. So that's what got me out of bed. That's what got me like pumped to do everything every day and just, be able to be a success in other stuff so that I could create that, that lifestyle and be able to like pick up and go whenever I needed to if the acting jobs came around.
Nice. You were in Invincible, were you not?
Yeah. That was one of my first films, man.
You were Mark Wahlberg's body double, right?
I was Mark Wahlberg's double in Invincible. Actually, no. Actually, to be honest, I wasn't his double in Invincible. I was an Eagles trainer. I was on the film. I was one of the click extras, like the core extras. You got those extras that are like in the stands and stuff. They're there for like 1 day or 2 days. But I was the Eagles ball boy. I was there for, pretty much 3 weeks during the summer, and it was in between my college career. So I came home from college, stayed at my parents' house in Philadelphia. This was being shot in Philly, and was, the Eagles ball boy for that whole summer, and it was pretty freaking awesome because, Eagles are my team anyway, at hometown team, and it was sick. And then I met Mark, and the first day I met him, and my job was to hold the football on set and not to lose it because we had to use it for the shoots. And you know, they were like, don't throw this to anybody. Do not, you got to keep this. So I was like, all right, cool. And then, you know, in between sets, you got about like 10 minutes before the next shot is set up. And then Mark was coming over and he was walking past me. He's like, hey man, he'd be like, you know, throw me the ball, like basically make a like little hand gesture. And I'd be like, fuck man, I can't like not throw him the ball. So I just started throwing the ball with him and we had this like blown out catch. And next thing I know, I'm walking back to this trailer and he's like, hey, he's like, you want to grab a beer or something, man? And like, have some food? Awesome. And I was like, I would go back there every night and hang out. He had a cookout for the football guys. And I would just stop by because I figured, hey, if I did it one night, I'll do it every night. Had a couple good interactions with him. And then the funny thing is, I found that I started figuring out the movie sets stuff. And I was like, oh, these guys need stand-ins. So, like, when they're setting up a scene, it's like, you know, they need people to set up it takes an hour or something to set up the cameras, the lighting, the track, the everything. So I was like, oh, I'm like his same height, his same weight, his same body type, everything. So I was like, next thing I know, next summer he comes by and does The Happening, and I was like, I'm gonna try out for the stand-in gig, and because that gets close to him all the time. So I did The Happening, and then 3 weeks later, literally Ryan Gosling pulls out of Lovely Bones, and he does The Lovely Bones. So it was like a couple stretch there where I was really close to him.
Nice.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Do you guys still talk at all?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, I still talk to him. We're like, I don't work on his stuff anymore, you know, obviously. Like, I just, like, branched off and did my own thing. A couple of his guys, he does, like, literally have an entourage, so we're, like, a couple of us are, like, really close friends, you know? His trainer they hired him on Invincible, Brian Nguyen, is very close friends with him, still to this day, but doesn't work with him closely on films at all. But, yeah, we're all, you know, like, I keep in touch with all his people.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It's really cool, yeah. So it'll come around again sometime when I'm like, you know, he's doing something and I'm perfect for some other role, and, you know, I'll get in there and, you know, probably be in a movie together, and then just, you know, be like, hey, man, remember when you're standing? Like, no, we're just doing... Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, so are you going to try and be in, like, the next Transformers movie with them?
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. That was good stuff, but...
What did you think of those movies that you were in? Especially The Happening, you know, we won't lie, that movie
first of all,
wasn't well received.
Yeah. Like, kind of it was kind of a B-list movie. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, yeah. That was, and everybody knew it at that time. But the thing is, like, The Invincible, I'll tell you this, Invincible was a fucking good movie. And never felt cooler in my life than I worked on The Departed as an extra. This was like early in my career, and I was up in New York. I was living in Philadelphia, and he was in The Departed.
Yeah.
No, sorry, it wasn't Departed. It was We Own the Night.
Oh, okay.
And I'll never forget, I'm standing with a bunch of extras. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. We Own the Night? Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Good mob movie.
Yeah, man. I'm standing with a bunch of extras, and Mark's walking past us, and he comes directly over to me, shakes my hand, gives me a high five, a little hug, and he's a bro hug, and he's like, dude, saw Invincible. This is before it was out. He's like, saw Invincible. That was fucking awesome. Good job. And I was like, oh my god, dude. I was just like, I looked around and everybody else, they were looking at me like, dude, what the fuck was that? You know, it was awesome. One of my like early moments, like, this is crazy. But Invincible was awesome. It was a good movie. Yeah, it was a good movie. I loved the Eagles, so I was a little more partial, but great movie. Vince Papale, it was a great underdog story, you know. It was like, but The Happening, more B-list, but, you know, M. Night Shyamalan got this thing, man, you know, where he's like, he'll do anything, because he knows what to do, you know. He knows that get enough out of the movie but it wasn't a big budget. So he knows how to like make money. Put it that way. And the Lovely Bones, I think the book was probably better than the movie.
I hear mixed things, to be honest with you. I have people that say that, but I also know people that actually love the movie quite a bit.
Yeah? Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, I never read the book, so I gotta be honest there. But I do, the one story I did hear was Ryan Gosling showed up, Peter Jackson was there, and he showed up, cut fucking bald spots into his head. This is what I heard. I don't know the facts, but he cut bald spots into his head to make him look like a dad. And Peter Jackson was like, no, what the fuck did you just do? We have this. You're kind of like, you gotta be a sex symbol, and we fired you. And now they just like called up Mark Wahlberg, and I don't know how Mark Wahlberg fit into that whole thing, but it wouldn't be my first choice in that movie, but, you know. Yeah.
So, like, as long as he doesn't shave his head.
Yeah. I mean, we just need a general dad kind of guy. So, got it. So, yeah.
So, I mean, what have you enjoyed more, doing movies or television shows?
I'll be honest with you. I like doing television shows more because that's what's hiring me. You know, I feel like movies still in this day and age goes to A-list kind of actors. You know, it's a little tougher. It just feels like a little tougher. And honestly, the golden age of TV is right now. You know, it's like Netflix, Hulu, fucking everything.
Prime.
You know?
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, you got everything. You know, I don't even know.
Disney Plus.
Yes.
And we got,
exactly.
CBS Access.
You got the theaters thinking about making a streaming
But then
service.
it's like, I even love that shit, man, because like True Detective was like one fucking long movie.
Oh, yeah.
Over 12, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That first season was amazing.
First season blew it out of the water. But it's like, that kind of TV is, it changed him. You know, it's like, because that's the thing is like, you hear, right? It's like, that was the biggest gripe. It's like, the book was way better because the book went into way detail, right? But then you, like, say something, I don't know, some kind of film that had, like, a book.
Oh, The Mist.
And then it was, like, made into a movie.
The Mist.
And then you're like,
The Mist. I actually think The Mist is better movie than the book. It's been a show, which I think the show is not very good. And then it was a book, but then it was a movie, too, where I think the movie was actually better than the book. And even Stephen King has said that if he had thought of that ending, he would have wrote that ending.
Really?
Yeah, that came out in the movie.
Wow. I mean, like, that's the age-old story, though, right? It's like, I can remember back in, like, 1990-something, where, like, the book Congo.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the gorillas killed
I just watched that movie today. I just watched that today.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow, no shit. Look at that.
With my kid.
But like that was one of them. I remember going to see that in the movie theater and being like, "Holy shit, this is gonna be amazing!" And the movie was fucking amazing. But like somebody that read the book that went to see the movie was like, "Oh fuck, the book was so much better because it went in so much more detail and all this other shit." But it was like you can only have a 2-hour-long movie, you know, so you can't go into all the nuances and like the, you know, everything. Like if you have a Netflix series like True Detective that has 12 episodes and it's basically like a 12-hour-long movie, you can get away with that, you know?
Yeah, no, agreed.
So it's changed the game. I mean, so honestly, like I don't know. It's
binge watching is a thing now. That is a big thing for people.
So I mean, to answer your questions, like I just like doing TV because I'm used to it. And I know a lot of like A-list actors used to be like, "Oh no, I'm not a TV actor," but like now everybody's doing TV. It's the golden age of TV, you know.
What's something you want to do? Like, what's a film you would like to do? Horror film, action film? I mean, is there like, you know, you're like, I want to be in a zombie movie. I mean, what's something you would really want to do out there? If anyone's listening, what's a movie you want to do?
Honestly, I think about this all the time. I would want to do. I'm big on end of the world type apocalyptic movies. I'm huge on that.
Okay.
Like kind of like 2012.
Oh, okay.
World War Z. Like Brad Pitt does a lot of the shit that I always want to do, like Galaxy type, 2012, World War Z, like something dealing with the human race as a whole. You know, it's something that we all like. It's universal. You know, so something like that. I mean, what was the one he just did? I thought it was a fantastic movie. It was a space thing.
Yeah. I think that was Ad Astra.
Yeah, Ad Astra.
Ad Astra. I watched that. It was like it dealt with space, but it dealt also on like such a human level of like dad not being there for his son, you know, and being away. Like there was so much more depth to it, but it was like it's like you know, humanistic, like a huge. Big grandiose level of like, oh, dad that goes out to space and like is lost and the son's trying to follow him or find him, but also like on a minuscule level of like that could happen on Earth by the dad just being dad just being a alcoholic or something.
No, I totally get you. I love movies that do that, where something is more of the background, such as space, and there's more of a metaphor to it, like the idea of a father and son, needing to reconnect because of a bond that's been torn apart, or a connection that was never there. I totally get that.
Exactly.
I love that about films. That's one of my favorite aspects of films, actually.
That's exactly the kind of film I'd like to be in. Something like that, or something like that.
Makes you think a little bit.
Yep. And just like 2012, like kind of end of the world, World War Z, like we have to deal with it as a human race, like apocalyptic almost thing. That's kind of shit that I love.
Cool. One of my personal favorite questions I like to ask guests is this: are you much of a horror movie fan?
I mean, growing up, is like totally a horror movie fan.
What's your favorite horror movie?
Oh man. So crazy. It's so many different like genres of that. It's like
that there are.
They're the shit that I grew up with that I look back at now and I'm like, oh, that was kind of like flaky, but it was awesome at the time. It was like the Friday the 13th or like Freddy or like Hellraiser or stuff like that. But then like more current. I'm looking at like Blair Witch and like Paranormal Activity, stuff like that. There was more like
lost cam footage movies.
Yeah. Just more
lost cam.
Like, yes, exactly. And then currently, it's like a lot of stuff on TV actually has been pretty good. Like very what was it, the Blind Manor, the kind of shit like that. It's like more
Blind Manor,
House on Haunted Hill. I love that series, and I thought that freaked me the fuck out. But it was like, and then also growing up, it's so many different things. Like Mothman Prophecies.
Love that movie
for a while.
Love that movie.
Yes, that actually fucked me up for a while. I feel like
the true story's even scarier.
What else? Emily Rose. What was that called?
The Exorcism of Emily Rose?
Oh my god, dude. Yeah. And that girl was in Dexter, and she was great in Dexter, and I loved her in that.
That was Michael C. Hall's wife for a while.
What's that?
That was Michael C. Hall's wife for a while.
Yeah, Jennifer.
Was it really?
Carpenter,
yeah.
Yep.
Jennifer Carpenter. Wow. I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they started dating during the first season, got married in the second season, and divorced after the
fourth, I think.
Yeah, after the fourth season.
There was
Can you imagine that?
Scandal with
working
Julia
that
Stiles.
close to somebody and being what's that? She got divorced because of what?
It was a scandal, I believe, with Julia Stiles.
Because of Julia Stiles.
Yeah.
He was
really
stepping on.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why you.
Wow. Can you imagine that? No fucking way.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Julia Stiles was just at this. She was one of the last agent parties I remember going to in the city before this whole pandemic happened. Julia was there.
Oh, that
any stories to share about that? Any conversations with her?
Absolutely not.
Speaking of talking about COVID, I mean, when I was doing my research on you, I saw that you are an owner in a restaurant. How's business been since COVID?
Yeah, so what's great about that is actually, I thought I was crazy for actually wanting to invest into a restaurant during COVID, but I know this guy that's been doing it in my local town around here in Hoboken, New Jersey for a while, and he's like really talented, and he's been he opened a couple restaurants, and he presented me this opportunity, and it's worked out actually. We have,
what's the name of the restaurant?
It's called Touch the Heart. It's American dim sum, so it's like, I don't know what you can get there. A bunch of different stuff, like that's like American, like dim sum, but like Americanized. And then it's a BYOB place, but we can only have 25% occupancy right now. But they invested in a big tent outside with heat and heat lamps and everything. It's an amazing spot. If you're ever in Hoboken, New Jersey, or if you're ever in New York by any reason, and you want to come over to Hoboken, Hoboken's like a borough of New York. It's awesome. But it's right on Washington Street, the main strip, 324 Washington Street, called Touch the Heart. BYOB spot, but it's like you can actually bring a bottle of tequila there. Ooh. But they have like cocktails. Yeah, no, they have like regular cocktails, right? And then they'll just put the tequila in. Ooh. So it's kind of like
it's classy
mocktail kind of thing. Well, you make it, and then they'll mix it. They just can't sell it there. So it's awesome. But it's one of my bigger, like, my thing is all about building a life, building a abundant life outside of the acting career, because I think so many actors right now so many of my friend actors right now, they got fucking way lost during the pandemic. They're back at home in fucking Missouri right now with their parents, and just didn't set it up the right way. It was like that starving artist mentality. I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to be a waiter. And now that acting is gone, and any bars, they just cut back on our bar, our restaurant, 50% of the waiters because of going into winter. It's just not there. So, if you don't set yourself up for the long term,
yeah,
you're screwed as an actor. I mean, unless you're like a Johnny Depp or you're Brad Pitt or Mark Wahlberg, and those guys got other stuff going on.
And definitely. So then with your realtors agency, are you guys doing okay with handling your businesses, and or are you guys doing everything digitally right now?
No, you know what? Honestly, real estate's been the busiest it's ever been in my 12 years of working in it since college. Yeah. It's crazy. I never thought that would happen. I got into real estate at first to supplement my acting career because I'm like, oh, this is super flexible. I could work nights, weekends, on the whatever, doing showings when people aren't working, and then go to auditions during the day. And it just got so that was my whole plan in this acting thing, and then we just kept going, and we opened a brokerage, and then I got people working and teaching them under me, and all that stuff. Then COVID happened, and it's like, holy shit, everybody got scared, and then I was like, well, I kind of don't agree with this. I'm gonna fucking put the foot on the gas pedal and see what I can do here, because people need help. Like, real estate's an essential business. Everybody got to live somewhere. Everybody got to do something, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like. So the people that were like sitting here in the city and are like, I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment now. I got my kids. I got another kid. I'm working from home. Me and my wife. We need a bigger fucking place. I need a 3-bedroom with outdoor space, or I need to move to a house like a little outside of the city. Well, that happened in huge amounts around here. So while all these other agents were like, oh, I'm just going to take a break for a little bit, blah, blah, blah. I was like, nah, these people need help. You know, like, these people need to know, like, there's real estate that's going to be happening. You know, it's just like a lot more problems a lot more stuff that we had to go through. We had to sign COVID forms. We had to wear gloves. We had to wear booties. We had to wear masks, you know, all that other shit. But it's like, if you just keep it, you know, like, if you just follow protocol, like, you can get shit done. And I never thought, if you would have asked me a week before COVID, if I would have ever thought I could sell a place virtually for $1 million, I would have been like, you're fucking crazy. Nice. Somebody's got to come into a place. Like, that's crazy. No one would ever do that. And, like, that is the one thing I hold my hat to. It's like, I sold a place fucking virtually. Like, literally, the seller didn't want anybody in. The buyer didn't want anybody in. And, like, I was like, well, you know what? Seller wants to sell their place. Buyer wants to buy a place. I'll fucking figure it out. So we put a FaceTime thing together with the buyer, the seller, me, and the other agent, and we just did a FaceTime thing, and they went through, looked at the whole thing, and ended up buying the whole place.
Wow, that's
nice.
Yeah,
spectacular.
and totally virtually. And I was like, well, look, can't stop. I mean, it basically, like, fast. It just goes to show you, like, you can do that stuff. You know, it, like, fast-forwarded everything by 10 years.
So, let me ask you our question of the day, Kyle, for the show. And I think you're the right guy to answer that. Let me ask you, what do you think makes the perfect ending of a movie?
Perfect ending of a movie?
What do you think is the perfect ending?
It's a good question.
Like, for me, I think one of the perfect endings I've ever seen was from Return of the Jedi with Star Wars. Was when Lucas fighting Darth Vader, and he's like, you know, he does the whole, if it wasn't for, you know, your sister, you know, well, you know, Obi-Wan has failed, I'm coming after your sister, and he's like, never, and then it's the piercing light through the darkness, that final battle, when he chops off his dad's arm, he sees he's just like him with his arm basically chopped off, you know, father saves son, father dies, sacrificing himself. I think that was a damn good ending. Everyone lived happily ever after. It is a cliche ending, but hey, it was a damn good ending.
Perfect ending kind of wraps it all up. Like, you know what? I'm going to be a little risque here. I'm going to talk about a little something that's a little risque. And it's almost like when you're having that sexual encounter with someone else. And it's like,
I like where this is going.
You know,
Go
you
ahead.
have a cliche climax, and it just brings it all together. And it literally is like a release that is like every little loose end is tied up and released. It's almost like, it might be cliche, who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter. It's like everything that was building up is just came together and is satisfied. That's what I think the perfect ending is.
That's beautiful, man. I love it.
Gotta relate it to, you know, whatever.
Well, Kyle, thanks for coming on, man. We really, really had a good time with you on. We appreciate you coming on a lot.
Awesome, man. I'm glad. Thanks for having me on.
We definitely want to have you on again, so we'll be in contact with you, okay?
All right, awesome. Thanks. Have a good night, guys.
You too.
This is the Nostalgunk Podcast, where one person's junk is another person's childhood. I'm Matt McGraw.
And I'm Kyle Smith. Join us each week as we take a deep dive into your pop culture consciousness and discuss everything from movies, TV, music,
cartoons, toys, video games, and more.
and we want to hear from you. So connect with us. Nostalgia means so many different things to so many different people. So share with us your favorite piece of nostalgia.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at NostalJunkPod. And you can subscribe to us on all the major podcast platforms. Let's get this thing up to 88 miles per hour, and we'll see you next week.
Before we move on, my listeners, let me ask you, do you have any old clothing you think might be valuable? A concert shirt? Maybe an Elvis shirt you've outgrown? Or maybe a Star Wars shirt you just want to sell? Then make sure to give our friends over at Ivory House a call at 623-203-5568. They specialize in retro products and clothing and will make you an offer. Again, that's Ivory House, 623-203-5568. Tell them Real Shark sent you.
Hi, my name is George, aka Spike Green. You may remember me for shouting out Real Sharks podcast over at the Film Geek Collective. Basically, anyone who supports us at all gets to be part of the collective. No money required. If you want to learn more about film, if you want to learn just a whole bunch of tricks and tips and stuff, and just various things about film, I am like a go-to guide. I hope to be a go-to guide. Now, if you want to check out the Film Geek Collective, the link is anchor.fm/George-D2. Alright? Well, I guess I'll see you guys there, and thank you, Real Sharks Podcast. Keep listening to them too. Thank you so much. You're always welcome at the Film Geek Collective, and don't you forget it.
We're back with our Kurt Russell special. We're continuing it up. And I want to kick it off with something a little different, because I, in fact, love this movie, but not for the reasons a lot of people think. I think it's a movie that gets bad rap because of political, controversial reasons, as if jumping up and down on a celebrity couch justifies ultimate hatred for an actor, and by that I mean Vanilla Sky, Tom Cruise's Vanilla Sky. This movie had Kurt Russell in it. He played a detective, but he played and I can't, without giving it away, I think everyone should see Vanilla Sky. It's actually a pretty good film. With the interesting, and I won't give it away, but what's interesting about Kurt Russell's role is he goes from playing a detective to ultimately being a metaphoric father figure in the film to Tom Cruise, which is kind of what Kurt Russell kind of did later on in his career. He shifted from that more action star role to more of that fatherly kind of figure, mentor kind of figure. But I like him in Vanilla Sky. I mean, yes, it is a minor role, but it's there, and he's actually an important part of the film. But I guess you could say I like the movie more than Kurt Russell's performance. But Kurt Russell's performance was just another. It was the cherry on the cake to have Kurt Russell in it and be a part of it. So that's my opinion on Vanilla Sky. But what do you guys think about Vanilla Sky? I mean, have you guys seen that film?
Yeah, that was one of the ones, like you said, it was like a very controversial film for Tom Cruise.
Yeah, because he jumped on the couch.
And
then, of course, Cameron Diaz said, "I swallowed your cum." That means something.
Right. Which is like, once that happened, it was just like no one cared about the film anymore. And it's a decent film. It still kind of gets a bad rap, which I don't know. But Kurt Russell's piece, very, very good and underrated.
And, I just want to throw a shout out to Open Chest Anime Podcast, to my homie Brad. We actually had the conversation about the whole Cameron Diaz quote. We actually specifically talked about how we remembered that scene. And what happened, Brad? You haven't contacted me in a while. I thought we fell in love. I thought we were like Trump and Kim Jong-un, man. I thought we fell in love, bro. So hit me up, give me a call. Anyway, back to what you were saying, Steve.
No, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle.
What? Kurt Angle. Yeah, you remember when he was in this film? Now,
wait, body slammed the giant.
Body slam Kurt Russell. No, Kurt Russell body slammed his performance because it was, like you said, it was very minuscule, but it was, I feel what you mean, Rob. Like, that was like his niche role. After doing so many like action roles, he kind of settled into this like mysterious, like, fatherish role, kind of, but backed off, and he wasn't really the main focus in the film. Like, and it was fine. I liked it.
Neither was Tom Cruise. It was more or less his messed up face. To be fair, that was only half the movie. God, Steve's dying. Steve's literally dying. It was only half the movie. Have you guys seen Vanilla Sky?
Yeah, I've seen
have not.
Vanilla. I probably didn't watch this movie for like the longest time, but I think I watched this about like 3 or 4 years ago because I was on a Tom Cruise movie kick at the moment. And
Did you watch it after Eyes Wide Shut?
No, no, it's funny. I was just finished watching Days of Thunder.
Good movie.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, what else can I find to watch? And I found Vanilla Sky. I'm like, well, I've seen the trailer. I remember when the trailer first came out. I thought the trailer looked so bad. I mean, yeah, I don't.
Trailers are the devil. You should never trust them.
I know, and I learned my lesson. And after I watched this movie, and what surprised me the most was when I saw Kurt Russell was in this. I'm like, oh, he's in this, and then from like when you first when you first meet him and just playing that detective world, I'm like, he's gonna fuck up Tom Cruise in his life. And then at the end, when you find out everything about him, and it kind of blew my mind a little bit with how the whole entire story went and everything. Like, shit, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
but
he's a representation of Tom Cruise. If I don't want to give it away too much to my audience, but
from start to finish, it kind of blew my mind with how well it was, and even from Kurt Russell, if he wasn't a supporting character in this movie. And just how small of his role was, he kind of almost stole a lot of this movie.
I disagree there, but
no, he played his role.
I think he was he complimented Tom Cruise, I think. Yeah. But let's talk a movie that I'm pretty sure you guys will be like, oh, I love that movie, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. Stargate.
I like Stargate a lot.
I know you do. I like Stargate. So tell us about Stargate, Mike.
I mean, plot-wise?
Everything about Stargate. Talk about Kurt Russell.
It's an awesome-ass movie that stars both James Spader, who's fucking awesome, and Kurt Russell, who's fucking awesome. Kurt Russell in this one, though, weirdly plays the, like, uptight, he's a Marine? I know he's in the Army of some kind.
Air Force.
Air Force, there you go. Yeah, I know he's in the Armed Forces. He plays, like, an uptight Armed Forces guy, and they find a Stargate, which is, like, a trans-dimensional rift to another side of the galaxy, right? Yeah. And then James Spader's your kind of your hippie scientist guy. And
paleontologist?
Yeah, he's got like long flowy hair, he wears big glasses. Yeah. He's looking fly as hell. But it's a fun time. Like, I don't know, maybe I only like it because of James Spader and Kurt Russell. They're both great in it. And they're both given good performances, and they're two actors I really enjoy. So like seeing them play off each other is pretty fun. But I don't know if the movie, based on what everybody says, the movie ain't good. But I like it.
Even as a guy who's not a fan of Stargate, I heavily disagree because they made how many goddamn shows off that movie?
It's a cool premise.
Alright, so the original show, which lasted about 10 seasons, they went off to Atlantis, which lasted about 3 seasons, and they went to Stargate, like, Universe or something, and that lasted like 3 seasons.
Are you a huge fan of Stargate?
Yeah.
I
think he owns them all, actually.
No, alright, before you talk about this, I'm gonna go off and with this. I actually started watching the show before I even watched the movie.
Interesting.
Because I didn't know there was a movie until I looked up Stargate the show, and it said, click on this to look at the movie. I'm like, there's a movie, and I watched the movie, and I'm like, holy shit, this explains a lot of things I missed and didn't understand so far. And like from the first season, I mean, so that solves it. I mean, damn, I feel dumb. I should have watched the movie first.
The only reason I remember Kurt Russell was in this because I always think of that South Park Imagination Land episode where they have the kid and they turn around and he's like, Kurt Russell, are you ready? He's like, why am I here? He's like, because you were in that movie that was kind of like this one. And I was like, oh god, Stargate.
Jeez. That's how I feel too. I'm like, I'm not the biggest fan of Stargate. I saw it like in the 90s like everybody else, but I'm just like, it was one of those films like we rented it and I was just like, I don't think I need to see that again.
I feel like there's a side of an aisle, and I'm not trying to draw it here on the table.
There's a very clear division.
I think the division is like, if you're a Star Wars fan, you're generally not a Star Trek fan or Stargate fan. I know a lot of people who love Star Trek and they love Stargate but hate Star Wars.
They hate Star Wars.
Star Trek, sir, not Star Trek.
Damn, I think this is divided.
Excuse me. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Good guy, he knows.
Yeah, but it is funny though because again, the success of this movie from Kurt Russell's performance, I think actually propelled him into the next movie that I'll get into, because of he was playing this a different role. Like he was playing the army dude. He had like the buzz cut. He looked like Guile from Street Fighter. He's got the buzz cut going. And then like again, it spurred all this gigantic series in the '90s that rivaled the Star Trek series in the '90s too. It was like those two shows that are going at it. So I think it's as good as his performance in the next movie, which I like, which a lot of people do not like of Kurt Russell's, is Soldier, 1997.
Really?
That one was badass because he goes back to being like the badass, like alone type of guy in the universe where they breed these soldier.
I know what it's about.
Like, yeah. He from like these kids, they like get them as kids and basically just train them to be nothing but just soldiers. It's kind of like a rip off of Universal Soldier a little bit, until he goes against this other unit that's like a super soldier unit, and they kind of dispatch him, and it goes from there.
There's another division at this table.
Oh yeah, I can sense it because this was not well received. Kurt Russell's performance.
I think this is a movie that actually kind of downgraded his star status.
You think so? No, I don't think it tainted his career because
I see this movie at the dollar store.
Yeah, like this is one of those films where a lot of people don't like it, but because Kurt Russell barely acts in the film. He's like silent character. He's like no emotion. He says like a couple of things in the film, and it was relying mostly on the action in the film. So again, it's one of those films where I don't think it downgraded the man's career because he was established by this time. But yeah, the division I could see is rising at this table.
I'm looking at the Rotten Tomato score in this, and this movie is probably like one of the lowest seasons.
Listen, Squid, you didn't need to bring that up. No.
I'm just saying it's a 13%. I mean, that's probably the lowest.
Yeah.
Wait, how low is Escape from New York? How low is Escape from New York?
I don't think it's very low at all.
It's got to be.
Or LA.
New York is a shit show. It's so bad.
All right, let's see. LA has 53%.
Really? For Escape from LA?
We'll get into those next. So those are probably, we didn't want to get into the biggest movies, but no, it's fine. Which is 1981's, Escape from New York, and what is that? 96 Escape from LA, I believe.
Yep. So he did Escape from LA, and then he did.
No, New York, then LA.
First, and then
well, yeah,
LA.
but I'm talking about Soldier, and was it LA, and then he did Soldier?
He did Soldier in 97.
So he did LA first?
Yeah,
okay.
he did LA first.
So he probably thought LA was going to really work, and he was like, let's do this Soldier movie. It's kind of like Snake Plissken.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of Snake Plissken, probably one of the most iconic movie characters ever put together. I mean, God, I can't even tell you how many times on Twitter I go on Twitter every day, and there's something with Snake Plissken somewhere on it. People,
he's great, man.
Yeah,
He's a
of
great
course,
character.
yeah, he is. He's awesome. Am I gonna say he's as cool as Solid Snake from Metal Gear?
Ooh,
maybe not.
That's
Yeah.
I mean, well, like Solid Snake was actually made from Snake Plissken.
And Metal Gear Solid 2, he calls himself Iroquois Plissken.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was for all you real true gamers out there.
you
I'm
guys
so
know.
proud of everybody right now.
If you got that, hats off to you.
Hats off to
You
you.
play Metal Gear, you're on the right side of history. Hideo Kojima, best director in video games by far and away.
Hell yeah. So Escape from New York, I mean, God, these two movies are iconic. Even though some people say, L.A. is terrible, I remember from as a kid. I liked them.
It.
Yeah, I watched it. Father forced me to watch it. Yes, I watched it.
I never had access to LA as a kid, so I watched New York a lot. And then I finally saw LA as like a 25-year-old man. I was just like, what the happened?
It was that shark
boy.
scene. The minute he shoots out in that pod with that shark, I was like, wow, I'm done with this film.
You weren't done by the one-arm basketball scene where he's got to be shooting across the thing.
He made all those shots, though.
Hey, but for what they are, they're fun films.
Well, Escape from New York, I think, is really good. It's incredible atmosphere, incredible music.
Iconic film.
Yeah,
Iconic.
and for given the production budget, like, it pulls off some really impressive stuff. Like, James Cameron's landscapings and stuff that he did of the city are super cool.
Right.
They look real. You think you're actually looking at a real city.
But Kurt Russell's performance in both of those, would you guys say that they carried the film? Like it's
funny
film?
because I don't think it. Yeah, no, exactly. I don't think it's Kurt Russell's fault. Like, well, the first one's great. I'm saying, like, when a movie is bad, it's not necessarily the main guy or the main actor's fault. It's just a terrible film, and I think that's the problem. It wasn't his. It was just the direction of the movie was terrible.
Right. Because he was Nick Plissken in both of them.
Yes,
he basically did the same character.
The same guy. It's just the other film sucked.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, you can only do Terminator so many times before it starts to suck.
Yeah. Oh, no.
And, unfortunately, it took a lot longer for that to happen, Terminator-wise, but...
yeah, like for what he's asked to do in those two movies is just be quiet, look tough, and look mean, and he does it.
He does it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he did it good.
But when he has a series of tough guys with him, he also is able to pull it off pretty well. And I'm talking about a movie that's kind of relevant to where we live over here in the States, and that's Tombstone, 1993's Tombstone. Classic movie. I don't know too many people that don't like this film. I know one of the biggest criticisms of this film is it's long.
Right, yeah.
It's too long, but, of course, had Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell, Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Michael Biehn, Powers Booth, Dana Delany, Stephen Lang, Billy Bob Thornton, Charlton Heston, Jason Presley, Michael Rooker. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
It is a heavy
hitters
yes.
after heavy
movie,
hitters.
or Western movie.
Yes. Probably one of the best. Probably top 3, in my opinion, best Westerns of all time. I'm sure if you've ever heard our Western special, you know my opinion on Western films. Not the biggest fan, but don't unsubscribe because of that. But... I love Tombstone. I think Tombstone is a great film. I love his performance in it. I think he's, among the pack that he is in, definitely stands out that's Kurt Russell.
Right. I think so. I think this one, it ingrained into America's minds as pushing Kurt Russell over the top because of this performance, and it almost branded him a little bit because he's in another Western. We'll get to that
as a Western guy.
As a Western guy, because he played it so well. Wyatt Earp, he played that character to a T, and again, I think he single-handedly
better than the other Wild Earp.
Yeah, like I'm no offense to another person who's done a lot of Westerns in his career, but this one kind of almost single-handedly brung back the Western phase in the 90s. It was this one that started it, and then others followed suit. But I think that he ran with this role. Other kind of people, I kind of feel like personally were more of the supporting cast around him. They were great characters, don't get me wrong, but it was kind of like Kurt Russell's owning this film.
You think so?
Actually, I agree with
I really do.
Really?
Yeah, I really think that the other characters are just they're side characters.
Because I love Bill Paxton so much, and I just feel like Bill Paxton was a shining star in there too.
He was.
Yeah, he was good.
But when I think about Tombstone, I think of this as a major Kurt Russell movie. I mean, just how Steve said, from all the other acting, it's fantastic. I mean, but I see that as more of a supporting cast. I mean, I loved Sam Elliott in this movie. I mean, and let's not mention Val Kilmer was in this, and
this is probably everyone loved Val Kilmer.
Yeah, I mean, this is when Val Kilmer was in a top. Everybody adored him.
He's just not famous anymore.
No, and a lot of his lines are so iconic. A lot of his lines from this movie is iconic. Like in "I'm Your Huckleberry."
Excuse you?
Well, I mean, that is part of it. But, from Kurt Russell's role in this, I mean, just how well he presents himself and just how dramatic and, emotional he gets in a lot of the scenes. He steals the scene away from everybody else. Like when Bill Paxton's character was dying. I mean, holy crap, was that kind of scary. And then when Sam Elliott's shot in the shoulder and just how they played off each other, I mean, that honestly had me at standstill. I mean, holy shit, what's going to happen?
Speaking of a movie that's like, holy shit, what's going to happen? Could take a miracle to win this game. Let's talk about the movie The Miracle. You like that pun, Steve.
I did.
Actually, I have seen this movie. Ironically enough, I'm not even a huge sports guy, but I've seen this film, Disney's The Miracle. I actually seen it once in a hotel back in the day. It was on TV, and I was like, oh, okay, just, nothing else to do.
I saw it on a plane.
Watch this film.
Very similar.
Right.
It was great for a plane.
Am I the only one who saw this in theaters?
Yes.
Yeah, probably. I see. It's one of those films I've seen in passing, and yeah, it's a story of how the Americans beat the Russians, and the Olympics, unforgettable game. Odds stacked against them. Yeah, it's an okay film.
Yeah, he plays Herb Brooks, the coach. So pretty good film.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah,
There's not much I can really say about it. I know I'm sounding like I've never seen it, but I have, and it's just not that memorable. First of all, and I personally don't think it's that memorable, and I just thought it was just okay film. It was entertaining for the time I watched it.
It's a good standard procedural sports film.
Inspirational kind of film.
Yeah, it hits all the right notes. It plays well, and you
We
enjoy
can
it
do
after you
it!
saw it.
Never give up. Never surrender.
And they did do it.
Yeah, he did do it, and I will say this: it kind of goes back to what
the
Rob.
commies.
Well, yeah, right. He did, right? Yeah,
I guess we should be more American on this this podcast. That's right. They beat the commies. Commie bastards.
And it's funny though for all the people that are like, "Well, what do you mean about this film?" Well, just like what Rob was saying, that this is more of the Kurt Russell father figure coming in again, because he was sort of toning down the action. No action here, obviously, but he was more of the father
action
figure.
on the ice.
There's there's Russians. You know what I mean?
And there's Russians. Yeah, if we tell you there's Russians and ice skating in this film, it almost sounds like a spy movie.
It really does, actually. Yeah.
Americans, ice, and Russians.
Oh yeah, I guess I'm the only one that actually really enjoyed this to the point you
I
kind
didn't
of
say I
saw a
didn't
little
enjoy
more.
it.
Well, you said you said it was good. It was okay.
It was just forgettable.
It was forgettable.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember learning about the miracle in elementary school and learning this, but when this movie came out, man, okay, this looks good. I want to go see it, and I went to go see it with my family. And I actually really enjoyed it because it showed a lot more behind the scenes of the troubles and kind of drama that actually went on with the players and with Herb, and kind of the ceiling and why they were so passionate about being the commies and everything, and just how involved you got with these players.
Damn commies.
Those damn commies. Those damn commies. You damn dirty commies.
It's so funny. We have to beat the Russians in hockey. God damn it.
Hey man, that's what they care about the most.
I know, right? I know. The real war was fought on the ice.
On the ice, guys.
God bless America.
Right.
God bless our troops.
God bless our troops. God bless our hockey players.
That's what
God
I'm
bless
wearing.
Kurt Russell. All right. God, you guys are gonna hate us.
Hopefully the joy transcends. Hopefully they enjoy it.
So the last movie we're going to wrap up on here on this probably part 1.0 of the Kurt Russell special is one he's barely in, but I still think he has, a good performance in there. And I'm not even a big fan of this film at all, but I know everyone around this table is. I'm one of the only ones. It's Death Proof. Kurt Russell's rolling it.
We got another division on the table. I'm on your side. I think it's Tarantino's worst movie.
Right? Yeah. I do think it's his worst movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kurt Russell in it. It is what it is. That's all I can say about his performance in there.
Right.
Being that mysterious,
stuntman.
Yeah.
Stuntman Mike.
It was cool. That's all I can say.
It was all right. It was
cool.
okay. He did well for his role. I felt like he for what it was, right?
Yeah,
you barely even got when he freaks out. I mean, it was
let me
cool,
set the record straight. Why I don't like Death Proof that much, and it's more or less because if you hear Tarantino talk about the film, he says a lot of the dialogue he wrote was insider dialogue to his friends. He wrote some parts to make his, cousin laugh or his uncle laugh or other people he knew laugh. And you can tell in the film there's a lot of these inside jokes to the characters within themselves, and it's so boring. It's to me anyway, I just feel like it's very, very boring because you don't really know what they're talking about a lot. I mean, I get the idea if you want to be realistic and come in on a conversation, but it's good God, give the audience some context for what's going on here. But like I said, I thought Kurt Russell's performance in it was cool. Just cool.
He's a little creepy, a little mysterious. That's all he needs.
Mysterious, creepy guy, cool.
Yeah, he played the crazy guy pretty good. I felt like he convinced me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't.
He's a good bad guy.
Yeah, he's a good bad guy. I felt like that was great. It was all right for
He didn't need to say much or do anything. He just needed to be the guy behind the wheel.
Be crazy.
Yeah, because at the end too, he's not it's not him. It's his car that's the big demon that's chasing everybody. So
True. Yeah.
he can't really do anything to make those scenes better and or worse.
Do you think the car was possessing him?
No.
Who knows? It's like that scene, and I hate to get off topic, but another one of my favorite, greatest scenes in movie history is the scene from Talladega Nights when he blindfolds them in the car, and he's like, "You're right. It's almost like the car can drive itself."
That scene is so ridiculous.
First of all, I have a pet peeve about anything with cars doing human things.
You're right. Oh, so you got a problem with Maximum Overdrive?
I have a problem with any, like, Cars, the movie. Like,
Yeah, like Cars, the movie.
I look at them as machines that can't do anything, so when a car is possessed by a demon or something, I have a big problem with that, because I'm like, it's a fucking machine that requires an operator to work.
But not if there's a demon.
Not if there's a demon in it.
You got to control it, man.
Just sorry. Just that's what I get with those films. And there's not many of them, so, you know, you can tell my hatred runs deep.
Did something bad happen to you during those Mobile X?
I once got my hand slammed into a car.
Yeah.
I think that might be it.
Yeah, that was probably it. Yeah.
That's probably why I hate Cars.
These damn commies.
Not to mention, you know, the part that always brings me out in Brave Little Toaster was how they told you how cars have, like, faces. So I see faces on cars all the time.
Yeah. Why would you bring that up, dude? Like,
out,
that's the scene that probably messed you up as a kid.
It freaks me out. And they're just, you know, doing the whole worthless. But we're getting off the topic. Yeah. But you know what's not worthless is the Real Shark Jagged Tooth shirt store, where you can buy all our merchandise, all our cool T-shirts, film shirts, and everything else. Make sure you guys go check that out on realsharks.wixsite.com. And we're going to wrap up this episode of Real Sharks with this Kurt Russell special. So stay tuned for the next episode. We also had Kyle on the show. But before we go, I want to ask the question of the day for you guys. And we're going to ask this. What is the perfect ending of a film? What would you consider to be the perfect ending? What has to be in a good ending?
That's tough, because you can go different directions with that. You can say, like, the end of Lord of the Rings, how they beautifully sum up this long journey with many little fade-ins and fade-outs, and they wrap up all the characters in a nice little bow, and they send them off to where they're going to go. Like, that's a great ending. That's a damn near perfect ending. But then, obviously, for other movies that are a little more open-ended or mysterious, you don't want to wrap it up that neatly.
Yeah, or you can go like The Mist, where it's a horrific ending, but it's a pretty like, you feel it is justified in that world. So it depends on what like you said, like what it is. How does it complement the characters, the world itself, and the setting, and does it wrap up in a pretty bow at the end?
You know, I mean, I kind of like a little bit of chaos in a good ending. There's a little bit of that, but if it doesn't end with a cliffhanger, I'm okay with it, because if you leave a perfect movie with a cliffhanger, you leave that open to possible interpretations of being a possible sequel down the road. But if this is going to be just a perfect standalone movie, you definitely want to have like character ties finished up, everything almost like a great big happy ending. Or for me, what I really love the most is at least one sad thing happening and everything just ending peacefully.
Well, besides my favorite ending being the Return of the Jedi, with that, my other favorite ending is, I think endings that are realistic are my favorite kind of endings. And like one of my favorite endings of all time, and it's not really an ending to a movie as it is to a episode of a show, is the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones. I like endings like that make me upset. Right. That make me sit there and go, what the why? But then again, when you go back and you look at it, you're like, wow, that's a life lesson almost, because it's, you know, you got to look at the things you do that can, you know, the cause and effect of things.
Right.
At first you're like, I don't understand why he's dead, and then you're like, oh, yeah, he made a lot of mistakes that he shouldn't have made.
Yeah, he went back on his word several times with the wrong people who told him that he would get, you know, punishment if he went back on those words.
On his words.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that those are always the most powerful endings.
Truth and consequences.
Correct. All right, we're going to wrap up this night with me, your host, Rob, and Mike.
Y'all have a good night and stay safe.
Steve.
Yo.
And Whit. Bye, guys.
We'll see you guys later. Such a dick.